Hello everybody, my name is Kenneth
I am Anna Karras.
and we're here with the Collier County Public Library Virtual Book Club. Today we're reading Beautiful Ruins by Jess Walter. Nana and I are going to have a little chat about it.
Yes.
So in 1962 Italy, Pasquale Terzi moves rocks in the surf trying to build a beach for his hotel, The Adequate View, in his tiny seaside village of Porto Vergogna. Ailing American actress Dee Murray arrives by fishing boat to stay there and change his life forever in the process. And then there's a second plot, 50 years later, in Hollywood. Jaded Claire Silver, chief development assistant to washed-out filmmaking legend Michael Dean, contemplates leaving her job and her useless boyfriend Daryl. It takes one wild movie pitch from overly confident failed author Shane Wheeler to bring everybody together on a quest to set everything right. So what did you think?
I was pleasantly surprised by the book. It sounds, when I read the description of it, it sounded rather depressing, but it was actually, there were bits of humor in there that I really liked. Like, I loved that the hotel was named The Adequate View.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was beautiful, priceless, whatever. And I really loved the character of Pasquale, who tried so hard to make his small town and his hotel into a place that Americans would want to come and visit.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Audiobook said Pasquale.
Pasquale? Okay.
Yeah, that's how you say his name, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very complex story. Lots of characters. It introduces more to keep track of as it goes. Lots of points over the 50 years time span between 1962 Italy and present-day Hollywood and other parts of America as well.
Right.
It really comes from a starting point of disillusionment and frustration, but over time it kind of got to, it really seemed more like an optimistic book.
Yeah, it felt like there was hope at the end that things were going to turn out okay.
Yeah. It took a long time to get going for me. Introducing a lot of things to track. I didn't so much like those parts of it, but
I'm just a sucker for anything having to do with the Mediterranean. So you described to me a fishing village, I'm there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I can picture the water and the mountains and the shore. I'm just, yeah.
I really like the various relationship surprises. Like, Dee gave Pasquale a picture of her and this dark-haired woman, and you kind of suspect who's in the picture,
right?
But then it's just this laugh-out-loud moment where somebody's like, "You had a relationship with Elizabeth Taylor?" I think it's like, no, the other one.
No, the other one.
So. Yeah, there were lots of things like that were pretty funny, and I gotta say, the book had the most encyclopedic ending I've ever seen.
How? Tell me why.
So, yeah, no spoilers here, but
no.
Every minor character, every ambiguous situation is fully clarified.
And neatly tied up.
Neatly tied up, exactly. It's not always the best choice, but it can be refreshing sometimes to see,
absolutely.
That full closure.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see everything there. Haven't seen that since Goodnight Moon. So, let's get to the questions.
Let's go to the questions.
Question one. What does the title Beautiful Ruins refer to, and how does it capture the essence of the novel?
Well, in the beginning, even before you get to the first chapter, there are a few quotes at the beginning, and they actually name Richard Burton himself as a beautiful ruin, mm-hmm. who is at the time filming. He was there while Elizabeth Taylor was filming Cleopatra.
Right. The epigraph, that epigraph is taken from a 2010 New Yorker article by Louis Menand. Who refers to Richard Burton late in his life as a beautiful ruin.
Hi, Trisha.
And that's from a Dick Cavett interview is what he was talking about.
Okay.
Dick Cavett interview, Richard Burton. And so, yeah, Richard Burton is described in that as a beautiful ruin.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, what is...
I never never thought him to be all that good looking, but, you know, he certainly did ruin himself.
Yeah.
So, maybe not beautiful, but a ruin.
Yeah, so the book does feature a fictionalized version of Richard Burton as a character. Yeah, and if you have any ideas to, you out there, if you want to answer any questions we have, you know, feel free to type it in the chat. So yeah, the term can apply to old actors, the Hollywood establishment.
Or the crumbling town of Porta Vergogna.
Yes.
That's also
absolutely.
a beautiful ruin.
Pasquale and Dee make a ritual of visiting an old bunker.
Right.
So that's
Yes.
that's a beautiful ruin.
Well, I don't know if a bunker is beautiful, but yeah, okay.
They saw it as such anyway.
Okay, fair enough.
And then, and several characters in the story, whether or not they're old or young, can definitely be seen as beautiful ruins. Pasquale, to an extent, Dee for sure.
Michael Dean.
Michael Dean, absolutely.
Yeah.
Pat. So yeah, that's so yeah. Everybody's a beautiful ruin, and also there are beautiful ruins, and Hollywood is one anyway. Question 2.
Yes.
At the beginning of the story, Pasquale Terzi is waiting for life to come and find him. Is Dee Murray the life he was waiting for?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I don't know. I think that he thought it was. I definitely think he felt that way. That all of a sudden he's sitting there trying to make a go of this hotel, waiting for something to happen, and then all of a sudden here comes this beautiful young woman, this actress, who is sick, and he sees it as his opportunity, and he certainly does pursue her to the ends of the earth.
So I say no.
Really? Okay.
I say no in answer to the question.
Okay.
Because he thinks maybe she is at first, and maybe she would be if things were different. But I think what he's actually waiting for, he's already led some life.
Yes.
He's young, he's early 20s, but he's had some experiences.
Yes.
And I think he's waiting for permission, whether or not he knows it, to go back to the life that he knows he should be leading.
Which is not one in Porta Vergogna.
Right.
Right. Yes.
It's in Florence. No spoilers, but
No.
yeah, look for that. Question 3.
Okay.
When he first sees Dee, Pasquale thinks life is a blatant act of imagination. Explain what he means, and do you agree with Pasquale?
Blatant act of imagination. Well, she almost seems like, what is the word I'm looking for? Almost like a mirage when she steps off the boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody comes to Porta Vergogna, ever, unless it's the fishermen returning from their daily catches. And to have an American tourist, well, there is one other American tourist who comes, but other than that, she is like this vision, this too good to be true type of thing yeah, so I would call her a blatant act of imagination. But I don't know what, I'm trying to remember the exact passage that it was said in.
So at the time,
Yes.
he's wondering if he conjured her out of the water.
Okay.
Conjured the American actress out of the water
Okay.
as a response to his ambitions for the hotel
Right.
and his own loneliness.
Okay.
And he's imagining much greater success for himself and for his hotel and the whole village if, say, she has a great experience and she tells everybody she knows, and then Americans start flocking to Porta Vergogna.
So basically, it is, he does see her as sort of a too good to be true type of thing.
Mhm.
Yes, okay.
So, and that kind of lines up with what Shane talks about, his ACT mantra.
Yes.
Basically, if you act like you're successful, you will be
You
successful.
will be successful, right.
So that's kind of along the same lines there. So,
Yeah, that's a good parallel.
did you agree?
Do I agree?
Yeah.
I don't, personally, no. I don't. But maybe for him, yes.
Hi, Julia.
Hi,
How you doing?
Julia. Thanks for joining us.
But I wanted to say that life is what happens when you stop imagining,
Right.
as opposed, or what happens between the imagination.
Right.
But
You can't live in your head the whole time.
you do have to have some amount of imagination in order to get somewhere.
Correct.
And that capacity for imagination will determine what kind of life you have.
So it's a balancing act between living in your head and living in the real world.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I want to say, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, taking the life you want is a blatant act of imagination.
Okay.
Can be.
I like that.
Can be said.
Okay.
Question number 4. Most of the novel's characters have dreams. Fair enough.
Yes.
What are these dreams and how do they parallel and collide?
Well, it depends on which set of characters you want to talk about, because there is the one set in 1962 and there's the one set in present day. And even though they all collide at the end, there definitely is a segregation between the two storylines until everything comes together. Let's see. Well, Pasquale has dreams of, he has dreams of building this hotel, but he also has these other dreams that he doesn't even admit to himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
That he wants to go back to Florence and live the life that he had while he was going to school, and just get away from the dying town that he grew up in.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to leave his mother.
No, he doesn't want to leave his mother, and I understand that completely. Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a terrible thing to be pulled one way and then have your responsibilities pull you another way. So that in that way, his dreams sort of collide with reality. But we have Dee, and her dreams are to be a movie actress, and she gets reality kind of collides with her dreams too. And then you have, you want to talk about the characters in the present day, since I'm rambling on?
No worries. So the primary dream for most of the characters in the novel, I would say, is it's set in Hollywood. It's fortune and fame.
Right. Okay.
And that's Shane, Pat, Michael, Dee, Richard Burton.
Richard Burton, yes. Even Claire to some extent, I would say.
Yeah, so her primary motivation seems to be good art.
Yes.
And fortune and fame in that way. It's not the same fortune and fame as the rest of them.
Right.
And mostly the motivation is money to the other people.
At all costs.
Yeah.
Right.
And hers is money through hopefully good art.
Right.
But and then there's other people like Deborah and the wives or girlfriends of the various men in the story, who are mostly looking for stability, a minimum of insanity, which the men are very bad at providing.
Very bad at providing for, yes. I think of Michael Dean in particular, on his 4th wife, was it?
Yeah, something like that.
And she wasn't having any of it.
Pasquale he stands out, as you were saying, as a character with big dreams, but they're more and less realistic than the people who just want fame. Mm-hmm. Like his beach and his tennis court. They seem like, he's trying to build a beach at the beginning of the novel, and he wants to build a tennis court up on a cliff, but that's impractical for a number of reasons that are pointed out to him later. And he probably knows that they're impractical, but, they seem more attainable than, becoming a big movie star.
Correct.
So, the parallels are evident in what everybody's looking for. And the collisions happen when they meet and they're at odds.
Right.
Like the men and their wives or girlfriends. Shane goes out trying to find success. His girlfriend breaks up with him because she can't stand his unreliability.
Right.
And that happens with Pat. That happens with Michael Dean several times. Mm-hmm. Obviously happens with Richard Burton.
Hello, Beth.
Hello, Beth. How are you doing today? Yeah, and those are collisions. And maybe that's what makes the beautiful ruins.
Maybe.
Question 5.
Okay.
Americans pride themselves on the American dream.
Oh, yes.
What does this term mean to you, and do you think it's still attainable today? As a little bit of background, we discussed this for Americana, we discussed this for The Wangs versus the World, we
Sure.
discussed this for the Dutch House. So you can go back and see some of our takes on this in our other videos,
Right.
as they pertain to those books. That might be interesting too.
Well, what is the American dream? The American dream is to live, well, the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, as going back to the founding fathers. And I think that finding that happiness in, having opportunities, education, a career, family, all that kind of stuff just kind of comes together into that American dream, which I think personally is a bit of an outdated idea or concept. I don't know if it's realistic anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the way the world has changed since the 50s and when the American dream,
Coming back,
is it? Okay,
eventually.
maybe?
There it
Yay! Anyway, what was I saying? So talking about the American dream and how maybe it's different from, maybe the American dream that people pursue in 1962 is different from the one that people would pursue today.
Mm-hmm. To me, the basic premise of the American dream idea is that anybody can achieve success, whatever that means to you, with, hello David, how you doing? Anybody can achieve success and wealth, which is usually a main component of the American dream
Right.
for most people.
Correct.
Anybody can do that with hard work, talent, or luck. And yeah, that dream is still alive for sure. Hello, Kittrell. And with the internet and how globally interconnected a lot of things have become, then it may be even easier to do, it may look even easier to do now
Sure.
than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Frank.
Frank.
Welcome. Whether or not that's easy is definitely up for debate.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And what specific form that dream takes
Mhm.
definitely depends on what you want as a person and what all these characters want.
Right.
Do you think the American dream had a lot to do with this novel?
Yeah, I mean, even the parts of Pasquale, I think he wanted the American dream because he wanted Americans to come to him.
Yeah.
And he wanted that to be surrounded by that dream that they all had. And so, yeah, I do think so.
Yeah, and it's the entrepreneurial spirit.
The entrepreneurial spirit,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Let's have a little bit about Jess Walter,
Okay.
former National Book Award finalist, winner of the Edgar Allan Poe Award, author of 7 novels, 1 book of short stories, and 1 nonfiction book. Appeared in a lot of stuff, essays in journalism, and in a lot of magazines and newspapers. Writing career in 1987, the reporter for his hometown newspaper, The Spokesman Review. Finalist for the 1992 Pulitzer Prize as a part of a team covering the shootout and standoff at Ruby Ridge in Idaho.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And so he wrote about that in his first book, Every Knee Shall Bow, in 1995.
Okay.
He's worked as a screenwriter, taught creative writing at various universities.
I can see the screenwriter part. There's definitely a screenwriter feel to this book. Yeah.
So he has
It's very cinematic.
There's a few actual screenplays or playwright.
But even
stories in
so,
there.
I mean, just
Yeah.
the feel of the book is very cinematic. Like you can picture it as a movie. And I'm surprised they haven't optioned. They probably have optioned it for a movie, but I mean, I don't know if they're ever going to make one, or have
Yeah.
they? I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, this was a 2013 book, I believe.
Yeah,
2012.
it was a while ago. Yeah.
2012. So
Okay.
yeah, we should really look into that.
Yeah.
But you can come and see us next week
Yes, we will have that answer for you.
at the Zoom call. You can find our other book club videos on YouTube or our website, collierlibrary.org. You can email me, kenneth.hardcastle@colliercountyfl.gov. And that'll be, get an invite to this Zoom meeting we're having next week, Tuesday, 2 p.m.
Yep.
And
We will both be there and we will discuss the book in detail. Spoilers are off the table.
Yeah.
We talk about everything.
yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So, yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yes,
Thanks
thank
for
you so
joining
much
us.
for joining us. Bye-bye.